Hey everyone, I'm Yulin and today I came up with a fun video idea. I'm here with my boyfriend Dan.
Yo.
And I'm going to make him guess the survivors' job titles as well as their items and abilities in the game. Let's get started then. Okay, so here's the first survivor. Her name is Emma Woods. What do you think her job title is and what do you think her item is?
I think she's a painter and her item is the pliers.
The pliers?
The pliers, yeah.
Okay, how can she use the pliers in the game? Because you know, the survivor's goal is to decode 5 ciphers and they also need to assist their teammates and rescue each other. So how can she use these pliers with the mechanics within the game?
I think she might use them on the ciphers.
Yeah, okay. And what happens with the ciphers?
It speeds up decoding.
Okay, I hear you. So is that all?
She also has some kind of water bottle next to the pliers, and maybe she uses that to slow down the hunters. I don't know.
Okay, so you didn't guess her title, neither her abilities. She is a gardener and her item is the toolbox. I don't know if it's called a toolbox in the game. I think it was called a toolbox. She can use the toolbox to break the chairs. Basically, she can break the chairs around the map so the hunter won't be able to see what chairs are available when they're ballooning a survivor. But she can also use those. She can also use that toolbox to break them as the hunter is carrying a survivor. Basically, she can bamboozle the hunter because as they're going to the chair, she's gonna be breaking it. So they have to drop the survivor down. And she also has a secondary ability which is called Protection. And basically she can call a bubble, some sort of bubble thing, to protect herself from the hunter's hit. Sorry if I'm not very good at explaining. English is not my first language, so it's kind of hard to remember the technicalities of the game. Okay, let's move on to the second survivor. His name is Freddy Riley.
Which item does he use? So I'm guessing he probably uses the flashlight, and he has certain abilities that he can toggle from the flashlight. So I'm thinking maybe he has something that as long as he shines his light on the hunter, it can do something to them.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, so and what do you think his job is?
I think he's
what does he look like to you? Like,
he's an ex-priest.
Ex-priest? Okay, so I gotta tell you that you're wrong. He's not an ex-priest, but it's funny because he does have a priest skinning game. He got it during a collab. I forgot what his name was. I think Gray? Something Gray? Wait, let me check.
Yeah, but it does look like he's carrying around the Bible in his left hand.
Okay. Yeah, he does have a priest skin. It's called Abraham Gray. Basically, he's a lawyer, and he has a map which he can use. He can use the map to see the hunter's location, as well as other ciphers that are not being decoded. But he also has another ability which helps him decode the ciphers faster. Basically, if he decodes one cipher, the other ciphers will be what's it called?
Sped up?
Yes, the other ciphers will be sped up. Okay, let's move on to the third survivor.
Oh, I know this one, but I can't remember what she does. Maybe she's a nurse. I'm guessing she's a nurse.
Yeah, okay.
She can heal other survivors faster, and I don't know. I'm not sure what the other ability is. She might have 2 abilities. I don't know.
Okay, so you are right about her being able to heal the other survivors, but actually all the survivors can heal each other. But it's nice you said faster, because she does heal faster. She can also heal herself with the syringe. That's the thing. Oh, she's a doctor, not a nurse. Okay, let's go to the fourth survivor. His name is Kreacher Pierson.
Oh man.
Or as I like to call him, Kreacher Person. Do you say his name? Kreacher Pierson? Kreacher Person?
I don't know about his job. He looks like his main job is bird watching.
Bird watching. I like that.
And maybe he has some kind of stealth ability.
A stealth ability.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, especially because he doesn't have an item to guide yourself from. It's hard to come up with ideas if there are no items. Okay, so you say he's a bird watcher and he has a stealth ability.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a thief and his item is the flashlight, and he can use that to stun the hunter.
But wait, the other guy had a flashlight and
I
he's
know.
a lawyer. What's the logic in that?
I know, but these were made before what's it called? Before they came up with item ideas, maybe. So that's why they are so incongruent. I don't know the word for it. I will edit the word I was thinking of later. So yeah, he's not a bird watcher, but I like that idea. Okay, next survivor. His name is Kurt Frank.
I think he's a mountaineer or something. I don't know. And he can use... I don't know what even is that. And I think he uses the rope as his item, and he can like tie up the hunter to slow them down.
Oh, I like that. It's like a stun. There are survivors that are called stunners. Basically, the survivors that can, they can slow down the hunter by using their different abilities. Okay, so you think he can use the rope to tie the hunter?
Yeah, and I think he can use the pouch to do something. Maybe heal himself faster.
Oh. Okay, so he's an explorer, and his item is not the rope, but that sounds very fun. His item is actually a book. He can use the book to decrease his size, basically become smaller, and within that mode, he can see the location of the hunter, basically not like their outline, basically just see an arrow pointing at the location of the hunter. But he also uses the book to find treasures, not really treasures, but more like password pages. And he can use those password pages to add like an increase to the ciphers. So for example, let's say he found a page that's 50%. If the cipher is at 50%, he can use that page to finish the cipher. Basically, it would be 100%. I hope I explained right. It's kind of difficult when English is not your first language. Okay, are you ready for the next survivor?
Yep, let's go.
Okay, his name is William Ellis.
Well, it looks like he's a professional footballer, and he can use the ball to stun the hunter. That's what I'm guessing. He also has something like a speed up ability or a jump ability. That's what it looks like.
Okay, so his job is forward. I'm not sure if that's an actual title or just like a cool, badass sounding name, like the forward. But basically, he can use the football to stun the hunter. You were right about that. Good job.
Hell yeah.
And he is faster when he vaults the windows and pallets. So you were right. It was in that ballpark. Okay, let's move on to the next survivor. This one, he's called Kevin Ayuso.
Well, I think he's a farmer,
Yes.
And he can use the whip on... Maybe he can use the whip on the hunter to stun them.
In what way do you think he can use the whip? Like, sort of like he wraps the whip around them?
Maybe he hits the hunter and that stuns the hunter because they're shocked that they're getting hit.
Okay. So he is a cowboy. He does use the whip, but his ability is that he can use the whip in various ways. He can use the whip by wrapping it around pallets, and by that he moves like closer to the pallet when he's chased. He can also use the whip on the hunter, but in the way that if he uses the whip on them, he can jump over them. And he can also use the whip to lasso other survivors when they're being ballooned. So basically he rescues them from the hunter's claws. I think you would like this character actually if you were to play it, the game.
Yep, maybe.
Okay, next survivor. His name is Servais LeRoy.
I'm not too sure. It looks like he's a magician.
Yes.
And he can use the stick to...
The stick, the wand?
The wand. The stick. He can use the wand to either maybe... he can hit the hunter with it. Or he can cast a spell from the wand.
What kind of spells are you thinking? Or is it difficult for you to be creative right now?
Yeah, it's really difficult. Maybe he can cast a spell on his teammates to speed them up.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So, he is a magician, so you were right about that. So good job. But he uses the wand to create clones of himself, basically. So if the hunter were to hit him, he could use the wand and create a clone that would protect his body in a way. So the hunter would be hitting the clone instead of himself, you know?
I see.
Okay, next survivor. Tracy Reznik.
I think her job might be as a scientist, and she can use the robot as an item to do certain actions. Maybe confuse the hunter.
Oh.
Or decode. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's everything.
Okay, you are right about that. So, she can use the robot to decode. So, there would be another person decoding. So, in a way, the ciphers are completed much faster. I forgot what her robot speed was because there were so many nerfs. I don't remember what the last nerf was. Last time I knew the robot could decode 110% faster, and she can also use the robot in a way to confuse the hunter if the robot wears a certain costume, because there are accessories in the game that can change the robot's appearance. So sometimes if there is a mercenary in the game, for example, and she uses the quiver, the robot kind of looks like a mercenary from afar. So in a way, it does confuse the hunter. So you were half right about that. Good job.
Thank you.
The next survivor. This is Martha Behamfil. Take your time.
I think she might be a soldier and she can use the pistol to stun the hunter. And maybe she has some perks that allow her to do certain things faster. Other than that, I have no idea.
Oh my god. So what did you say her job was? Soldier?
Soldier.
Okay, so she is a coordinator and she does use the flare gun to stun the hunter. And you were right about doing certain abilities faster, like she can vault faster. So you were right again, but not with regards to, but not in regard to her job's title. Good job. The next survivor. Okay, so this survivor, I'm gonna give you a hint. He doesn't really have a job per se. It's more like a title for the survivor because he's a deduction substitute. Since the Orpheus, the guy in the beginning, the detective, he could find only one page that belonged to this guy, and he couldn't find the rest of the diary, so he named him Deduction Substitute.
I'm thinking he might be a student or something, like a student at a detective university, and I'm not sure what his abilities would be. Maybe something like utility based, so he can decode faster or find clues as to where the hunters are.
That sounds interesting. Okay, so that's all?
Yeah.
He's a lucky guy, that's his title. And basically his kit is wishing for an item at the beginning of the match. He can ask for, let's say, a flare gun or a wand, for example, depending on what he needs in that specific moment. Like if he wanted to decode faster, he would ask for a controller, let's say. He can also search the chests for different objects and wish for them. And that's all.
So he can use abilities from other survivors?
Yes, exactly. Okay. The next survivor. This one, she's called Fiona Gilman.
I think her occupation might be as a witch.
Yes.
And she can maybe use the item in her hands to either debuff the hunter in some way or buff her allies.
What do you think her item is? What does it look like to you?
I'm not too sure. It looks like a carving of something. Like, yeah, carved stone or, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm thinking maybe she can slow down the hunters or make them damage the survivors less. And she can buff her allies in the way that maybe she can increase their speed.
That's interesting. You're very close in a way because that's basically a holy key, and she can use this holy key to create portals throughout the maps. She has two types of portals, a short portal and a long portal. And the long portal is very, very good for the matches since the survivors can go through it and reach a different location on the map. Like, let's say if it's a super long portal from one end of the map to another end, then the hunter will have trouble walking to that area. But if they have teleport, then they can teleport to the cipher that's closest to the portal, I guess. Okay. Are you ready for the next survivor?
Yep.
This one, her name is Helena Adams.
I'm not too sure. Maybe her occupation is...
I'm gonna give you a hint. She also doesn't have a job title per se. It's more like a cool sounding title, so you can come up with some ideas maybe.
I have no single clue. Let's maybe move on to her abilities.
Yeah, let's move on to her abilities.
I'm gonna guess that she can't see and she uses her cane.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she has some ability that enhances her sight with the cane.
Oh.
And like it gives you clues when you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any idea about the other abilities.
Okay, so that's all?
Yeah, it's really hard to guess.
Mm-hmm. You are very close. She can use the cane. Basically, when she taps it, the hunter's location gets revealed. And they also have a debuff for the walking speed, the hunter, while the cane is being used like for 5 seconds or so. But also when she taps the cane, like when she walks, she gets an increased vision. Basically, she can see the map a little better. Yeah, that's all. Let's move on to the next survivor.
Wait, what was her title though?
Oh, her name, the Mind's Eye. Sorry, I forgot about it.
I couldn't have guessed that in a million years.
The Mind's Eye. It sounds really cool. Okay, the next one. Her name is Vera Nair.
I think she's a perfume shop owner, and her abilities are related to the perfume she's carrying around. So maybe she can use it to either confuse the hunter on the location of the survivors, or she can use it on her allies for a buff, like a healing buff.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay, so she is a perfumer. Yes, perfume shop owner is kind of a mouthful to say, to be honest. She's a perfumer, and she can use her perfume to recall to a certain moment. Basically, if she perfumes and she gets hit by the hunter, she can tap on the ability back, and she will be fully healed again. So basically she can counter hits from the hunter because she would remember herself being healthy in that moment.
I see, so it's like the time machine perfume.
Yes, the time machine perfume. Okay, the next one. This one is Naib Subedar.
I'm thinking his occupation is maybe he's a thief like the other survivor.
A thief?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go again with stealth abilities, which make it harder for the hunter to see them. And as a second ability, maybe he has something related to higher mobility, so faster walking speed or faster vaulting.
Okay, okay, so you said his job is a thief.
Yeah.
He's a mercenary, and he can use, do you see the elbow pads?
Yeah.
He can use those elbow pads to touch different objects on the map, and when he bumps into them, he can gain a speed boost kind of thing. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, he gets a boost. He goes like whoosh. I don't know how to explain. I forgot English words. So yeah, you were very close, and yeah, he vaults faster. So you were right about that. Okay, the next survivor, Margaretha Zelle.
Oh, I think I know her. She's the dancer.
Yes.
And she can do... I can't remember her abilities. I mean, maybe they're movement abilities. I don't really remember. I think she had something related to moving faster or something like that.
Look at her items. You might guess what the abilities are from the items.
Well, she does have a small box that she's carrying around. Is it a music box? I can't really say. Yeah, I think she has... Yeah, it looks like it's a music box. And her abilities are related to using it. So maybe when she plays a song on it, she moves faster.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I have no clue.
Okay, you were right about that, but it's kinda, you already know her title and stuff. She is a dancer, but her full title is female dancer. I don't know why. I think it might be because in Japanese and in Chinese she's called dancing girl, and maybe that's why they went with female dancer. She does use her music box to speed up the survivors, and she also carries a slow music box. Slow music box. I don't know. Slow music box. So she can use the slow music box to slow down the hunters, to slow down the rocket chairs, and to slow down the hunters' interactions. Okay, let's move on to the next survivor. Eli Clark.
His job, he's working maybe as a priest, and he can use the owl to scout around for the hunter. Actually, Maybe he's not a priest. Maybe he's something like he's in a cult or something.
Do you know a job title in Romanian that I could help you translate?
Cultist?
Yeah, it's a cultist.
Cultist, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he uses the owl for scouting, and maybe he can also use the owl for attack moves on the hunter that stuns the hunter.
That would be so cute. Do you want to know the name of the owl?
Sure.
It's Brook Rose. So he would use Brook Rose to stun the hunter. That sounds so cute. Okay, so his job title is Seer, and you were right about the owl scouting the area, but in the sense that the owl can reveal the hunter's location to him. So basically he can see the outline of the hunter at the beginning of the match, and he can also him from and others from attacks of the hunter. Okay, next survivor. Aesop Carl.
Well, this is a bit hard. I'm thinking maybe he's some kind of doctor and he can either heal survivors faster or poison the hunters.
Poison hunters. That's so funny. So basically when the hunter is poisoned, he gets some sort of debuff.
Yeah, maybe it slows down the hunter or completely stuns them.
Okay. So his job title is Embalmer, and he carries around his box. I don't know what it's called in English, but he can summon a coffin, and he can embalm the survivor or himself. So if the person is knocked down in the game, for example, that person that's been embalmed will transport to the location of the coffin. So his coffin can protect the survivor in a way. I don't know how to explain.
He can resurrect.
Yes, so his coffin can resurrect the survivor in a way, but let's say if the survivor has been chaired once, then that would still count as a chair. Like basically if he was revived, the next time he gets put on the chair, he's dead. He gets sent back to the manor.
I see.
I don't know if I explained the skills very well. It's hard because it's English now, but that's basically the mechanics of it. Let's move on to the next survivor. Norton Campbell.
Oh, I think I remember him. So
yeah.
His job is minor, and he can use the magnets to either move himself with them or push away the hunters. So his magnets have two polarities, so it's either attract or repel, yeah, and he can use them in those ways.
Yeah, you were right. You remembered quite well. He can use the magnets to push himself away from the hunter or push the hunter into different objects on the map. But his job title is not minor, it's Prospector. Okay, let's move on to the next survivor. Patricia Dorval.
Oh, she might be the cultist, and I think her abilities are related to the monkey skull or head that she's carrying around. So it looks like she might lay traps with monkey heads that stun the hunters.
Okay, so that's all.
Yep.
So she's an enchantress. It's not very close to cultist, but she's an enchantress, and she can use the monkey skull to curse the hunter in a way. So when the hunter is cursed, she can get 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stacks of a curse. The 1 stack is the shortest one, and the hunter is stunned for like 1 or 2 seconds, I don't remember well. And the 3 stack is the longer curse, which stops the hunter for like 5 seconds or so. So basically, she stops the hunter movement when they're cursed.
I see.
Okay, let's move on to the... what did you want to say?
Oh, nothing. Let's move on.
Okay. The next survivor, and the final survivor actually, because this is part 1, Norton.
I'm thinking he might be a zoologist or some kind of farmer. And he can spawn his pig at will and use it for bonus speed. And maybe he can also use... Oh, it's actually a boar, maybe?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
boar.
And he can also hit the hunter with his boar and stun them.
Oh my god. Okay, so his job, not really job, but his title, he's a wildling. And he can use his boar to stun the hunter indeed, but also gain a movement boost, because his default walking speed, I don't remember if it was nerfed or buffed, his default walking speed is slower than the other survivors. Correct me in the comments if I got it wrong, because I don't really check for the buffs and debuffs of a lot of survivors. Okay, so he can use the boar to stun the hunter into objects and rescue survivors from the balloons, for example. And he can also use it to increase his movement and jump over different objects like the windows or the pallets. He can jump over them faster when he's on his boar.
Oh, so I was almost spot on.
Yes. Okay. So that's all. This should be only part 1, because I don't want to tire Dan too much. And if you're interested in part 2, please leave a comment and I'm gonna make him guess the abilities and the items and job titles of other survivors. Thank you for watching. Say something, Dan.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.